On this episode of the Neil Wilkins podcast, I'm delighted to welcome Hristo Arakliev. Now, Hristo is the co-founder at Hyperzon. And as we're going to hear, this is a business that helps you to scale, particularly through direct-to-customer branding and content creation, and the really important thing, scaling through lead generation and actually bringing real customers to your door, particularly through the channel Amazon. But he does a whole lot more as well. So welcome to the show, Hristo.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Neil.
There's so much to unpack with this whole D2C kind of business model, isn't there? Because I think a lot of brands are finding it really, really difficult to trade right now because they are facing all the noise of social media. They don't know where AI is going. You know, there's so many changes and evolutions. And of course, with all the tariffs that we've seen recently, you know, coming out of the States, and, you know, there's just complexity, isn't there? But D2C through something like Amazon is so simple, isn't it?
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. Yeah, many people believe that, to be completely honest, but I have the opposite take because Amazon, yeah, of course, they provide you with a platform and ready traffic, but on the other end, you're just one little drop in the huge sea that Amazon is. So honestly, I always recommend, it's a strategic choice at the end of the day, Neil, and I believe brands perform best when they prioritize their direct-to-consumer website first, especially if they're starting out. And Amazon's massive, over 300 million active users, but for an unknown brand without a trendy, high-demand product, it's tough to get noticed. That's the reality. You're buried under established competitors, fighting for visibility in a sea of price wars and review battles. Plus, Amazon takes a cut of 15% on average per sale. And D2C, on the other hand, lets you control your brand story, upsell complementary products, and build loyalty programs without gatekeepers. And the catch here is you need to drive traffic yourself, which can eat up 20, 30, even more percent of your budget on ads early on when you're getting started. And I would say a mindful approach means starting with your D2C site to establish your brand's identity and audience, build a loyal customer base through content, email marketing, or social media campaigns that showcase your values. Then expand to Amazon strategically to tap into its scale, using it as a secondary channel to boost reach. For example, on your D2C site, you can offer exclusive bundles or subscriptions. Then you can use Amazon's enhanced brand content to echo that story and include a QR code linking back to your website for those deeper connections. And the key, in my opinion, is a cohesive multi-channel strategy, consistent branding, and pricing across both platforms to build trust and avoid confusion. From what I've seen, multi-channel works extremely well, but if you're just getting started, I wouldn't recommend going on Amazon. You're going to waste time and get super frustrated because the Amazon game right now is on a really, really high level. So I guess test it out, see if people really want your product, prove that they want your product, and then you can move on to Amazon. That's my take on that.
I did not think you were going to say that, Hristo. I really didn't, because I think a lot of people have this assumption, and maybe I was in this group too, that it's a quick fix. You know, you can literally be setting up an account, you can start trading, and if you've got the right kind of product at the right price in the right place, you're just going to win. And there is this kind of, I guess, naive kind of opinion that many people have, is that you don't need to do the hard work in advance. But what you're saying is that actually this is like building a solid, you know, strong foundational business, and you can't cheat, you can't fake it, you can't take the shortcuts. So is this brand building, even with D2C, is this brand building really crucial right at the start, no matter what kind of brand or product you're trying to sell?
It is in most cases. I think it's very crucial. Of course, there are always exceptions, but I think it is crucial to build it and build it with a mindful marketing in the core of what you're doing. Um, Mindful marketing meaning, aligning your decisions with your brand's core values and long-term vision, especially on a platform like Amazon, where it's so easy to get lost in the race of sales. It's about prioritizing authenticity over quick wins, whether that's through transparent product descriptions, ethical sourcing, or customer-centric policies. On Amazon, the pressure to optimize for algorithms can tempt brands to cut corners, like keyword stuffing listings or chasing trends that don't align with their identity. But mindful marketing means playing the long game. For example, a sustainable clothing brand might focus on highlighting eco friendly materials in their listings, even if it's not the sexy keyword that spikes short term clicks. Uh, you know, Even data backs this up. I read recently a 2023 Nielsen study. It showed, I believe, 73% of consumers prefer brands with clear ethical practices, and that trust drives repeat purchases, which is extremely important these days. And it's about asking, does this decision reflect who we are as a brand? And if you're a wellness brand, for instance, avoid exaggerating health claims just to boost rankings. Instead, educate customers through authentic storytelling. Maybe share a video on your Amazon storefront about your sourcing process. That builds trust and differentiates you in a crowded marketplace. But again, I believe it's much easier to first achieve that on your own website and then move to Amazon. I think you're going to have much more success. Testing on your website, driving traffic, it's so much faster, so much easier, so much cheaper. Amazon is a really long game. Everything happens so slow on Amazon. But if you've already built that audience and you're coming with a recognizable brand, you're going to have a spillover traffic, which is usually between 5 and 12%, because there is an Amazon specific audience. They would never buy a product on your website, no matter how much you push them. And because they have the Amazon Prime, and they're just going to check if your product is selling on Amazon, and they're going to buy it off Amazon 100% of the time. The thing is, we, for example, help brands get these 5 to 12%, get it up to 60, 80, 100%, because Amazon is not easy to figure out. It's such a difficult platform. Honestly, I'm very happy that in the past couple of years they started introducing tons of new things and implementing upgrades, updates. And right now we have tons of tools that we can use on Amazon. And of course, when something pops up, it works tremendously well in the first, let's say, 2 to 6 months, depending on how many people adopt it. And afterwards, everybody is using it and it's oversaturated. But the good thing is that in the past couple of years, I'd say Amazon has been introducing new things every couple of months, which helps people like us that are keeping their finger on the pulse of what's going on to always be at least one step ahead.
How did you figure out, Hristo, that this was your thing for your business? I mean, your business is not new. You've been doing this work a long time. And how did you kind of almost migrate towards this as being the focus for your business? Because it feels like there's something quite intuitive about the way that you're describing this. It's data driven, yes, obviously. The algorithms, yes, they're important, but it feels there's something a bit deeper here in terms of the way to do business and the work, I guess, your ethos and your values. How did you find your way through business in this way?
It's a great question. To be honest, I started off doing direct marketing, like emails, chatbots, etc. And little by little, my interest in marketing grew. So I was introduced to Amazon already 8 years ago. Of course, I knew about Amazon, but I was like properly introduced by a friend of mine. And I just thought, oh my God, this is such an interesting niche. I still see tons of opportunity at the time, and it was not so overly saturated as it is today. And I started gaining knowledge in the niche, and that led me to where we are today, being one of the best agencies out there. And I can say this proudly because we really do things differently and approach it differently. It's for us, it's not one size fits all, and it's also not a numbers game. It's more about building long-term relationships with our clients and being there for them like an extension of their team. And this is in the core of our business as a belief. I would say we are adopting this Japanese method, ikigai. I'm sure you've heard of it. And ikigai in business, it's like finding an intersection of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. It's a game changer for e-commerce. It's about rooting your brand in a purpose that resonates deeply with customers. When your marketing reflects that purpose, it creates authenticity that cuts through the noise. That's what I believe. Uh, I'm going to give an example here. Like, take a brand like Patagonia. Everybody knows that brand. Like, their ikigai, in a sense, is environmental stewardship, which shines through in their messaging, product design, and even their Amazon listings. Customers feel that alignment. Close to 90% of millennials say that they'll stay loyal to purpose driven brands, according to a report I read recently. And for an e commerce brand, this might mean donating a portion of profits to a cause tied to your mission or creating content that educates customers about your why. And on Amazon, you can weave Ikigai into your storefront's about section or product stories. For example, a coffee brand might share how they support fair trade farmers, connecting with customers who value ethical sourcing. Off platform, use social media to tell personal stories about your team's passion. It really humanizes your brand and fosters trust. And I implement that into my own businesses and my teams that I manage because I think that's the way to go, and implement it when hiring people as well. To be honest, I think getting the right hires is so crucial. I couldn't stress more on that. And we've always had difficulties with the right hires, but I'm extremely happy to share that we were able to create like a core that people really share the same values, and we can trust each other indefinitely. And it's so easy to work like that. Honestly, I can't be more proud.
And it really comes from the heart, this, doesn't it? I mean, this is, I think, going to really wake people up and make them think, oh, so it's actually far less about selling here. And it is much more about practicing, well, being a good human being and then being a good collection of human beings and actually working together, as you say, with that inherent trust as the part of the team. And that will come through in all communications, be they, human to human, be they online, be they through this multi-channel approach that you're talking about. It will pervade everywhere, won't it? This is the beauty of this, is if you can get this right at the heart, and you call it mindful marketing, and I love that phrase, and it kind of just feels very real, doesn't it? It's not really about the product that you're actually selling, or if you're in a service-based industry, it's not the service that you're offering. It is very much more about, as you say, the values that you have being conveyed to offer support to the customer, because the customer has a need, or they have a problem they're looking to solve. Otherwise, why would they be interested in you? And it's about aligning, I guess, your values with those customers. So does that mean, therefore, that there will be certain customers who literally will not get it? They will not understand you. I mean, even if you're Patagonia, for example, they wouldn't necessarily get that mission. They wouldn't get those values. And so they're not your customer. And it's okay to let them go, would you say?
Absolutely. I mean, this is actually very, very important because the more discrepancy there is between the core audience that you have and everybody else, the stronger your brand becomes, because the people that are true fans of that brand, they're going to stay with you forever. They're going to share with friends. They're going to wear your clothes, whatever you're selling. And this tells a story. It's very human in its nature, to be honest, because imagine if there is something that everybody likes, honestly, at some point kind of washes it out, and it dumps it out. So I would say it's very important to stand out and have a strong opinion, no matter if it's as a person or as a brand, and that creates true identity. And Absolutely. I say it's super important to have someone even in opposition to your brand, not even not sharing the values, but being opposed to what you're doing, being like, I don't know, I don't like that brand because whatever. And this creates a narrative, it creates a story. And the more people talk about it, no matter if, let's say, even half of the talk is negative, it creates a buzz. People talk about it, everybody knows about that brand. And it creates um, real strong emotions within you compared to a brand that, okay, they've done everything by the book, but they're kind of soulless. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. And I guess at that point, if you can kind of get it to that kind of a relationship where you say, yes, of course, as long as you keep providing value, they will stay with you forever. And, I think we've all seen examples, and we probably as consumers, we know examples of brands that we know and love and trust, maybe all the way back to childhood, and we would never go anywhere else for a particular product. And it's interesting
Sure.
then, isn't it? Because if that is true, and I think it is, I would agree with you. But if it is true, then the whole question of price, which obviously is a real sensitivity on somewhere like Amazon as a channel, that almost becomes less important, doesn't it? I think
Absolutely.
any consumer who goes to Amazon, and if they've got Prime, that is going to be their first sort of shopping destination online. They are looking at price, but this kind of transcends price, doesn't it? Because it's like, oh, there's my favorite brand there. Well, I can see there's others that are cheaper, but they are not going to be as good, is the perception, I guess, that the consumer would have. So this enables you to trade above and away from the competition.
Yes, it's all about sustainable growth at the end of the day. It's about building those systems that scale without compromising your values or burning out your resources. And on platforms like Amazon and Walmart, even I'll mention here, this starts with a strong foundation, optimized listings, competitive pricing, and reliable fulfillment. But long term success for brands always requires going beyond the basics. First, I think you need to diversify your presence, and relying solely on Amazon is extremely risky. That's why I don't recommend it. Algorithm changes or account suspension can tank your revenue overnight. And Walmart's marketplace is growing fast, that's true, but it has less competition, but also you're making less sales. So it's a great complement to everything else that you're doing, but it's kind of, you need to take the right steps. Again, your website first, then Amazon, then Walmart at some point when you're ready. Every time that you start doing approaching like all channels at the same time, I've seen people fail. It's just impossible. Your focus doesn't exist, basically. So I'd say, of course, diversify. Don't even stop with these platforms. Explore Etsy, eBay, etc. But everything comes at the right moment in time. Second thing, you need to focus on customer retention. I cannot stress more on that. Amazon Subscribe and Save program, for example, it boosts repeat purchases by 20 to 30% for consumables like supplements or pet food. And pair that with off platform strategies like email campaigns to drive loyalty, and you're up to something, I'd say. And the third thing I'd like to mention is invest in operational efficiency. Use inventory forecasting tools to avoid stockouts, which hurt your Amazon rankings, and negotiate with suppliers for sustainable packaging to align with consumer demand. Most of the shoppers prefer eco-friendly brands these days, especially in the US. Uh, so you wouldn't go wrong with that.
Mm.
You need to be
Yeah,
sustainable.
there's so much to unpack here, isn't there? Because I mean, on the one hand, that you're saying, I want to come back to the kind of the process side in a minute, but when you talk about multi-channel approaches and yeah, the whole concept of multi-channel marketing is nothing new, but the way you're defining it there, I think for a lot of businesses, be they a small startup or a big established corporate, it is a challenge, isn't it, to understand, well, how many channels, Hristo, should I be doing? And, which ones do I prioritize? Is it just
Mhm.
simply where my customer is? And if it is simply where my customer currently is, then how do I find that out? There's a lot of kind of questions here that can take a lot of time to figure out, aren't there?
Absolutely. First of all, I think ideally you need to be on all channels, okay? But this takes time. Don't do it all at the beginning at the same time. Little steps. Start with your website, go to Amazon, build your Amazon audience, turn Amazon into a big channel for you, and then move to other channels. And in the beginning, of course, if you're not sure, if you're like, okay, is my customer on Amazon? Is my customer on Etsy? Is my customer on Lazada, even like the Asian platform, or Mercado Libre in South America? You can test, especially if you have the budget. Like, test it out, see if people are purchasing, and um, you can decide which channel works for you. But again, I think running traffic to your website comes first. This means that you need to decide the geos that you would like to sell to. So if you want to start with the US, or you want to sell in other geos, that's very important. But I'd say always start with your website, and you're going to figure it out. As I say, test out platforms, but I'm seeing in time that this works less and less because people are, I'd say, half-assing it in a sense. Because if you put your heart into um, one channel, like let's say your website again, and concentrate everything that you have on that channel, you're going to get much more success than being, just being distracted by all the other shiny balls around you. That's my take on that.
Yeah, and it is important, and I think as well, kind of tying in with your point about the fulfillment and making sure that, as you say, everything is done, with the right kind of processes behind to actually fulfill the orders that are coming through. Is if you spread yourself too thinly, then you're really setting yourself up for a fall, because you've got different channels, you've got different audiences in different geographies, etc., etc. This gets really complicated, doesn't it? Too soon. Is then what you're saying is almost like you have one core central channel to begin. You're saying about the website. You then maybe then go to channel 2, which could be Amazon, could be Walmart, could be another, depending on where you're based. And you crack those first, rather than saying, okay, we need 5 because Hristo says all the numbers are there and we can scale. And no, we've got to go step by step. I mean, what kind of timescales are we talking about here? Is this kind of weeks, months, years?
Honestly, it's so different for each brand. I've seen brands that scale to 1 million in 3 months. Honestly, if you're doing 1 million on your website, it's more than enough, and it's the right time to go to Amazon. I'd say even if you're doing 300,000-400,000 a month, it's a good time to go on Amazon. But if you are not there and you think that by opening a new channel, magically the sales are going to start rolling, this couldn't be further from the truth. So it really depends on how good of a marketer you are. I'd say this is one of the most important things, or the agency that you hired to grow your brand. But again, what I've seen time and time again is that people that succeed are usually people with the core knowledge, meaning the founder of the company is a marketer that really, really knows what he's doing. It could be one channel that he's absolutely great at, but he manages that channel and he knows what to expect from his partners, his employees, etc. Because every single time I see the following um, businesses fail, and the following is, if you come from, let's say, a brick and mortar business, and all of a sudden you would like to build an e-commerce shop for uh, clothes, and you believe that it's going to be as easy as you've built your first business, oh my God, you are up for a treat, because it's so different. And no matter, you can hire the greatest marketers. If they are not truly motivated to push that brand to success, you'll never succeed, because they get distracted, they miss this and that. You need to be there. You need to understand the core of what you're doing in order to know what to expect from the agencies, from the employees, in order to get the right results at the end of the day. Because otherwise you're going, blindfolded, because you trust blindly these people that they're going to fix everything for you, and magically they're going to make millions and millions in sales. And I see it so many times. People um, with tons of capital, they believe they can do that. Just hire a bunch of people and make it work. Honestly, it almost never works out. The founder needs to be there, needs to be truly involved in the day to day until things start working out. Like get it to a million, get it to 2 million, doesn't matter. Then you can, uh, start relying more on other people. But this initial push is so crucial and so difficult to make from someone that is not the creator of the brand. Imagine this is like giving your baby to someone else and telling, I gave birth to that baby, now it's all yours. You need to turn him into a human being. Look after him for the next 18 years. I've done my part. Honestly, this is how these people sound to me. I've seen it so many times.
It's so great to hear you say this, because I think there are too many people in business, as you say, and you have many, many examples of this, probably many more than I do. But I see it too, where it is this whole idea of a quick fix is like, I need revenue today because I've got people to pay, I've got bills to sort, and I need the revenue now. So therefore, I'm going to just do this, and it will win, and I will be successful without too much effort. And that whole idea of almost passive income, that phrase passive income, I mean, I've never seen it anywhere ever. I think it is just pure hype, and it skews everything, doesn't it? Because then what it means is that the successful businesses are perceived as almost having it easy, whereas they have done the hard yards. They're the ones who have put in years and years and years of effort and sweat into this to make it work. And it's just a strange part of human psyche, isn't it, really, to think that you can do very little and get a huge success. I mean, the law
Yeah,
of
it's very,
equation
very
of
human.
kind of success just doesn't work like that, does it?
Doesn't work like that. It's very human, though. The shiny ball syndrome. That's what they call it. And unfortunately, if something looks tremendously good as a deal, it usually isn't. That's how it goes. I mean, if it's an okay deal, okay, maybe there's something. If it looks like the best deal in your life, oh my God, run, run, be suspicious, and be careful with your next steps, because this is the best way to lose a lot of money.
Are there any kind of brands or any types of business or product where this doesn't work? So if somebody's listening to this and thinking, look, I've got this particular sector I want to serve, I've got some products that I've created, and we've got a website, we're doing okay, it's not great, but I'd like to go down this route and open up these as new channels. I'm going to check out Hristo's website. And by the way, everybody will include the link to that in the description below in a moment. And they're kind of thinking, okay, I could do this, but they've actually got the wrong sector or the wrong product. Are there examples of particular product areas where this wouldn't work?
I cannot think of any specific niches that it wouldn't work. To be honest, it's kind of a ubiquitous idea for every for every brand, in my opinion. So
Which
no,
is a
it
great
wouldn't.
answer, isn't it, really? Because it means that there is something in this for everyone. I mean, there's good marketing practice here, very mindful marketing practice of working from your values, building your core proposition, creating the brand, owning your first party channel, which is your website. So doing things properly, building those foundations, no matter what kind of product you're serving. So that's great. It means there is something in this for everybody. Once you then sort of decide to expand, I mean, if you were to go out through, and you mentioned quite a few of the potential channels over and beyond Amazon there, are there any that are particularly good for certain types of product where they wouldn't work elsewhere? I'm just thinking, you've mentioned clothing as a good example there. Is clothing less successful, say, on Amazon versus eBay, or vice versa? Or, are there
Yes,
particular equations that work?
you're on the right track with clothing and apparel, actually, because clothing and apparel is not the best niche on Amazon, and honestly, we personally avoid it because if you want to have a cool sweatshirt or a t-shirt or whatever, Amazon is not the best place to be. You would go and buy it off from a cool website, and you're follower of the brand, etc. Amazon is great for consumables, products that people need on an everyday basis, and these are the niches that prosper the most. Compared to clothing and apparel, usually it works best on your own website, and in some cases you can sell it on Etsy if you're doing some really custom, let's say, things. Also, Etsy is really good for handcrafted things, things that need more time to actually prepare and craft compared to just manufacturing thousands a day. Etsy is definitely the best platform to be. Amazon is still the largest marketplace in the world, and it's you can really sell most products over there. So I always recommend going there as a secondary channel after your website. You have the proof of concept, move to Amazon. The good thing is with the multi-channel is that many times your sales will not double, but they'll quadruple when you include Amazon, because people start seeing you in more spots and they start perceiving you as a bigger brand. This definitely helps. And at some point, get to other channels, use influencers. TikTok Shop, maybe. TikTok Shop is really good for starting out right now as well, because you don't need to be a huge brand to succeed on TikTok Shop. The only tricky part is convincing the creators to work with your brand. But as long as you're giving them what they ask for, like bundles, freebies, whatever they need, you could really have success on TikTok Shop, as long as your product is sexy, and when people see it, they really want to have it. It fixes an issue, or it's something that looks so satisfying. Now the Gen Z is crazy with that ASMR stuff. For example, just watching somebody cutting a piece of food it's so satisfying. But stuff like that, be weird. At the end of the day, I believe that as long as you're doing something that you're enjoying, I think you're going to have much more success compared to going down the route of creating something just because it's trendy. If you're really having fun creating the product, manufacturing the product, selling the product, you're going to have much more fun. You're going to enjoy the process, and at some point, it's going to get successful. Because in the other case, you're going to get tired, and you're just going to burn out real quick because you're not there. You're not into it. You,
It's this. These are simple pieces of guidance, but I think so many people are not listening. Well, haven't listened to this point. So, what I want to do is connect people with you, Hristo, and kind of you're producing a lot of content through various channels, and obviously your website, which I understand is actually been newly refreshed. It's looking great, by the way. I checked it out
Thank
before
you.
our conversation here, just to kind of see where you were with it, and yeah, looking absolutely amazing. And I think there's a lot more kind of guidance that people know. Hopefully this has got them excited about the opportunity here, but they're going to need to do a lot more thinking, a lot more planning. Can they reach out and connect with you? Can they follow your content and
Absolutely.
stuff?
I'd love them to. They can reach out on LinkedIn. They can reach out on Instagram, and they can book a call with me on our website. Right now, we're running a deal where they can book a free consultation with me, and I'll be happy to guide them in their first steps on Amazon.
Wonderful. This has been really, really useful, I think, for all of us. And you've made me kind of rethink this whole D2C thing because, yeah, I think probably I didn't have it quite right. It's not my core kind of topic. And I think I had assumed it was easier than it certainly sounds like it is. And that if you're going to do it, you've got to do the hard yards. So thank you for refreshing my thinking on this whole topic as well, Hristo. It's been really
You're
great
welcome.
conversation. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Neil.